we're going to start. I'm going to teach you how to program inside the Linux terminal to compile it and run it and everything like that. So I'm going to do everything through the command line. I'm going to do most of it anyway. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to make our directory for the program. So as you can see in the terminal down here, I'm running mkdir, which stands for make directory. So let's go with this is going to be tutorial 1, so tutorial 1. And now as you can see over here on the left, we have a folder called tutorial 1. So we're going to then want to change to that directory, so that command will be cd, and then we're going to do tutorial 1. And if you hit tab, it'll auto finish, so you can do that. It'll get you there faster. So now we're in the directory tutorial 1, and we're going to want to create the C++ file that's going to hold our code for today. So we can call that, well, the command to create is going to be touch, and we're going to want it to be the C++ name, so let's go with hello world. And since it's going to be C++, we're going to do, it's got to be the C++ file type, so it'll be .cpp. And now in this folder we have hello world.cpp. You can just click on it to open. And in here, this is where we're going to write our code. So the first step in our code is going to be, you're going to have to write the hashtag or pound, whatever you want to call it, include, and then space inside your arrows right there. It's going to be IO stream. And what this will do is allow us to input and output to the command line. Next thing we're going to have to do is we're going to want to use the standard namespace. That's what I'm going to be doing in this tutorial. So to do that, we need to do using namespace, and then standard, it's going to use std for short. And the next thing, that's going to import our standard library, so we don't have to worry about using that. I've never programmed without using it, so I'm honestly not even sure how to do that. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to have to create our main function. If you've never programmed before, the main function is just going to be the program that actually has what you want to do. So whenever you run the program, this is what's going to happen. So you want to do int. That would mean that it's a type of function that returns an integer. And then main, because it's going to be our main function. And you're going to do empty parentheses. And if we were using another function that would input arguments, say 2 numbers to add, that's where we would put that, but we're not doing that since it's our main function. And then you want to do a set of brackets, and you can kind of space that out a little bit so that you've got room to write. So since we're going to write hello world, we want it to output text to the terminal that says hello world. So cout stands for console out, so it's going to output to the console. And then you want to do double output arrows, double open, greater than or less than, parentheses, I don't know the right word, whether it's left or right, open. And then in quotation marks, we're going to write hello world. You can make it say something else if you want. Maybe I'll put hello Mason. And after you type in that, you want to do the same double arrows, and that'll be end L, which will be end line, and then a semicolon. In C++, you want to end every line in a semicolon. So now that we have our code, we're going to come down to the terminal, and we actually have to, well, first we have to save it. You can do there, just hit Control S, and then we're going to want to compile the code. So the first thing you want to do is you're going to make sure you have G++. So it'll be sudo apt install G++. Now G++ is going to be the library that allows us to compile and run our C++ code. So I've already have it installed, so it's not going to do anything, but that command would be sudo apt install G++. And if you want to check what version you have, you can do g++ dash dash version, and it'll tell us right here I have version 9.3.0. But now that we have that done, another command you can do is clear, and that'll clear out your terminal and just get some of the stuff out of the way. So now that we have our program, we want to compile it. So we're going to start with g++, and then we're going to do -o, and then what we're going to want to create, the first argument is going to be the name of the file that we want to create. So we're going to create a folder, not a folder, a file that can actually be ran by the computer. So we want to call that hello world, and then the next thing we want to put is the file that we're actually going to be compiling, which is going to be hello world.cpp. Oh, I spelled that wrong, but you can also do the tab here to finish it off. And since it went to the next line, it didn't give us any errors, then that means it's ready to go. If, say, you messed it up and say you forgot your semicolon, it will not work. It'll give you an error right here saying we expected a semicolon. So we can fix that again and save. But you hear this time it doesn't give us any arrows, so we know that it's ready. And now we have our file. You can see over here it's hello world. Since it's in binary, we can actually look at that. So now to actually run it, we're going to do /, and then we can auto finish that, so it's / hello world. And well, I made it say hello Mason, but now you can see whatever your output was. Maybe you put your name. Alright, so another thing we can do here is you can see how it skipped, it ended the line. That's because we put end line right here. So if we take that off, so now we're back at just Mason. Then we have cout, hello Mason, in quotation marks, and then a colon. And we save that. And since we made changes, we need to recompile it. And now we need to run it again. So now, as you can see, it didn't end the line, it just continued on that line. Alright, so for the next section, we're going to focus on outputting to the terminal. So the first thing we want to do is we're going to be using string data types. So we're going to do, up at the top under where you did include IOStream, it's now going to be include string. So that'll let us use the string data type. And so we're going to want to go back into our main function, and now we're going to want to declare a string. It's going to be a string type, so it'll be string username. So now we have a variable called username, and it's of type string. So now we're going to want to output, we do the same thing we did last time, cout, and then the arrows, and we're going to want to put enter username, and you can do semicolons there, or colons, and then a semicolon to end the line. And now we're going to do, since we're doing console input, it'll be cin, and you're going to do opposite facing arrow since we're doing the input, and then string, we're going to do username, and semicolon to end it. And then after that, we're going to want to verify that it was correct. So we're going to do cout, same way we did before, and username. Since we're outputting the variable and not text, we just do username, and then here we can end the line. And we want to save it, Control S, and then you can go up in the terminal to get to the last thing, so you don't have to rewrite the command every time. So it'll be g++ -o, hello world, whatever it was for you. We could change it if we want, I'm not going to. And now we can do /, and now it'll be enter username. So for me it'll be Mason, and enter, and then you can see it printed out Mason. So to be sure that, to understand how this worked, we created a string object with the name username. So it's the string username is stored in this variable. So then we created the text so that the user knows to insert their username, and then we created an input so the user can, this actually brings up the terminal and allows you to input the text, and then it saves that, and then at the end, after you've typed it in, it prints it back out just to let you know, hey, this is your username, this is what you entered.